today's story about what I overcome is going to be about invisibility, both career-wise and socially, and also especially social anxiety while we're at it. Because, like, okay, I guess I started my journey like in primary school. Back then I was kind of like an average kid, really. Had no idea what the hell I was going to do in life. I had like probably an average friend group, average social life, average everything. And then towards the end of primary school, of course, I had to somehow pick what I was going to study next. And there was also that transition period from one school environment to another. Right? And like towards the end of that, people kind of started making fun of me for various reasons. And I also kind of thought, oh yeah, I like robots. They look cool. Let's pick mechatronics. And so I did. I went to secondary school, starting a totally 11-year journey from like studying mechatronics. And I was also still being made fun of. And at the time, that was kind of crushing for me. So I kind of went into like full-on like shyness, social anxiety, reclusiveness. And of course, I was also completely invisible to girls. It's like, what girl would even look at a guy like that who doesn't even like speak or engage? So I went on a long personal development journey to fix that, and preferably also figure out what I want to do in life along the way. Because soon enough, I figured out actually mechatronics, yeah, it sounded cool, and robots look cool, but actually designing them is a lot more complicated than one would think. There's a lot of math, a lot of simulation, a lot of boring engineering-based stuff. But I kept going with it because career prospects were great, and I wasn't sure what the hell I want to do in life. I explored some game design, game modding, video games, I mean. It was fine, but I didn't see a career in it. And all the while, I was also trying to claw my way out of social anxiety. I read every single piece of personal development advice on the internet, both about how to be social, how to date, and what kind of stuff you can do in life. Like, I don't know, building online businesses, stocks, fucking everything I could get my hands on, I looked at. Because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I just knew, yeah, okay, mechatronics, it's safe, it's a backup option, but I don't really want to do it. So I kept going. And there was, like, for my social life, there was a lot of parties and a lot of social events that I tried going to, but I wasn't really very successful. Like, I had this uncanny talent to just disappear out of parties. Like, I would go to this party, I wouldn't really talk to many people, and like, I was just as tall as I am right now. Big guy, not easy to miss, but somehow I was invisible. So oftentimes I saw people just didn't care about me, so I just disappeared off the parties. And that, of course, took a while to change. I also had some problems in my dating life, of course, because like I didn't even know how to do it. I looked at a lot of dating advice on the internet. I remember back in this time period, there's like this first 6-year period of my 10-year journey where like I wasn't really making very many strides, either socially or dating-wise, and I was still kind of stuck in mechatronics and stuff. And in that time, there was these 2 dates that I had, dates, I guess. One was like this Tinder date, and another was this date with a girl I asked to dance with me at that like prom thing or whatever. And I thought, for sure, no way, I'm completely undesirable. No girl's gonna want me. But that girl from Tinder agreed to meet with me. And I kind of screwed it up because then I kind of overshared a bit on text, but let's not get into that. And that girl that I asked to dance with me, I thought, no, for sure, she would not want to dance with me, period. And like we had this school trip that coincided with our first dance lessons, right? And she said yes on Facebook that she wants to dance with me because her recent dance partner just dumped her. And I thought, no, for sure, no way that she said yes. Turns out she did, but I failed to communicate that on those first dance lessons I'm going to be absent, so she found some other guy to dance with. And then I was like, I asked her on a date, she agreed, but a friend came and then nothing came of it. whatever, big deal. But it was another thing that made me realize, yeah, maybe I'm not really that undesirable. Maybe I'm not really that invisible. So, come secondary school, I kept trying. But of course, it took a few years from the point of those 2 dates to when I actually tried something. And also, socially, I suppose, the same story, really. But eventually, I started pushing. I started going to every party. I picked up this sensual dance called bachata. Very, very like close partner, Latino dance or whatever. And I also, at that moment, somehow managed to do my first, what is called cold approach. Long story short, there is a whole sub-community of dating advice on the internet. Very pickup artist colored, but okay, whatever. And they're preaching this so-called thing called cold approach, which is that if you like a girl and you don't know her, you should just approach her and start a flirty conversation. I was dead fucking terrified of this. I saw like videos about this stuff like for 6 years, and all this time I thought, no way, I could never fucking do this. Ever. Never in my life. But eventually, I did start. Because there was this girl on the bus. She arrived up there, she had problems with her luggage. I thought about helping her, but I was like, no. Eventually, I decided to help her, and she was quite friendly. I tried talking to her after that, but it didn't really work out. I was kind of a little bit afraid to ask any questions, so whatever. Long story short, I started approaching after that. It was very slow, but I started managing it. And I also started going, like I said, every social event, dance party, everything. And eventually I started building myself a social circle. I started accumulating approaches, and then at one point I had the opportunity to go here on student exchange to Brno. And so of course I took it. My parents were against me. They're like, biggest mistake you could ever make in life. No way, don't go. I went. Completely against their better judgment, which turned out to be not so good. Because I developed so much here. And I have such a great social life now that I could not have even imagined it like years ago. And another thing I didn't mention, I also had hobbies, of course, besides video game design and development. I also started realizing in somewhere around middle school that or actually more like college, so diploma studies, that I want to be a DJ. And at the time, I thought, no way, for sure, there's no way I can break into this, just like I did with cold approach. And I have like 385 cold approaches now, by the way. Not to brag, but just throwing it out there, just for contrast. And turns out that was, thank you, that was not so impossible either. Not nearly as impossible as I thought. And it started, oddly enough, with a cold approach. I approached this girl, I was super hesitant, but eventually it's like she liked me enough to give me a ride home from the place where I was studying, because she was traveling there. And she introduced me to this big Tomorrowland DJ on the way there. She gave me his Instagram, and so he listened to a few of my mixes, and basically that gave me hope again. And now I've just had my first few DJ gigs here in Brno. So again, what someone thinks is impossible actually isn't. So yeah, I'm hoping that this continues. Really the only barrier now is just, I don't know, get my first relationship, my first girlfriend. And that's the only thing I haven't managed to conquer, but hopefully I'll get there. So, yeah. That would be my speech. Thank you.